Hello everyone and welcome. A few months back I did a review of a laser tape measure which had the benefits of a standard metal tape measure plus a built-in laser measuring tool. That tape measure worked just fine, but after using it for a while I noticed a couple things that I didn't like. What I didn't like about it is that it's a bit bulky because the laser is mounted on the side of the unit and it sticks out like a sore thumb. This can cause it to be easily bumped and knocked off my belt when I'm working. It also only uses AA batteries, which can be expensive to have to replace all the time. So I looked around, and today we'll be looking at an improved version of the laser tape measure that I just got from Huepar. This one that we'll be looking at today is from a company whose products I've tested before and have found them to be accurate and good quality. This new one also does not have the problems that I just mentioned. So if you've been looking for a normal tape measure that also has a long-distance laser measuring tool built in, stick around as I unbox and test this new one that I just got. Alright guys, so when you unbox this puppy, this is everything you get. So let's talk a little bit about some of the features that this guy has. But before we get started testing this guy, do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. That way you get notified every time I do another product review video, DIY project, or a sale at a big box store where I can help you guys save even more money. Alright then, so this is a Huepar 2-in-1 laser tape measure available on Amazon, link in description below. At the time of making this video, this little guy retails for $56.99. But they also have a 12% discount coupon on the Amazon page, making it even cheaper than that. The warranty on this guy is 1 year, or if you register the unit, they'll bump it up to 2 whole years. So what do you get when you unbox this guy? Well, you get the tape measure itself, you get a cord to power it up because this guy has a built-in battery, and you get the owner's manual that tells you everything about this guy, and it comes in like 7 different languages, so it should be easy enough for everyone to understand. The dimensions on this guy are 3 inches by 3.5 by about 2 inches in thickness. The metal tape or ruler on this unit can measure up to 16 feet or 5 meters, and the metal tape is sturdy and 19 millimeters in width or 3/4 of an inch in width. The metal tape also has a movable hook that functions like a conventional tape measure, allowing you greater accuracy when taking either inside or outside measurements. The laser on this unit can measure all the way up to 197 feet, or 60 meters, with an accuracy of plus or minus 1/16 of an inch. The laser measurements can be taken from either the front or the back of the unit, and you can change that in the control panel when making the measurements. You can change it on the fly very easily at any time whatsoever, so you can swap back and forth as needed. This unit has a memory that can store up to 50 measurements, so you don't have to worry about writing things down while you're taking measurements. This little guy is powered by a 380 milliamp hour lithium-ion rechargeable battery, and this little guy also has an auto shutdown after 180 seconds to conserve the battery life. This unit has a convenient backlit display that we'll be looking at in just a moment that makes it easy to read in both light and dark surroundings. This unit can be used in either metric or imperial units, and you can select which one you like in the control panel. In fact, you can change the units even after taking measurements, allowing you to record multiple measurements in several different types of units without having to retake a measurement every time. This laser tape measure can take several different complex measurements, allowing you to measure for distance, area, volume, Pythagorean 2-point, Pythagorean 3-point, and continuous measurement mode. So this laser tape measure is great for the DIYer doing home improvements and wanting greater accuracy. It's also great for the contractor, home appraiser, home inspector, remodeler, decorator, or just about anyone that wants to be able to take long or short distance measurements more accurately and quickly. So let's take a little closer look at this guy and then we'll see how it performs. Alright guys, so let's take a little closer look at this guy and get a little bit more acquainted with it. So there, I'm going to give you a shot of all the angles and so forth, and you can see it pretty much looks like a standard tape measure. Not very different in the least, unlike the other one, which I'll compare the two in a moment. But this one looks very much like your standard tape measure. The differences are where up here you have a display, which I'll turn on for you in just a moment. But up here you have a display that gives you all the different measurements, the units, all that stuff. This is your control panel where you do everything right there. On the side here, this is where all the buttons are for everything that you're going to do. This big one is used for taking the measurements and so forth. And these four has 4 buttons right there. I don't know if you can make it out very well on the camera because it's all black rubber, so it's not very reflective. But that's where you change the units and change the measurements, all that kind of good stuff, all done right there. On the back here, these two up here don't do anything. They're just probably covers for some screws or something. They don't do anything at all. Right there you have your on-off button, and under here, this little door, you slide it up, and that is where your USB port is, where you hook up the connector so you can charge up your battery. So that generally stays down, so you protect it and don't let dust and dirt get in there. On this side here, you have the clip to put it on your belt. You can see the clip is sideways. Most of them will have it up and down like this. This one has it sideways. So you're pointing it down when you put it on your belt, which is probably a safety feature, I imagine, because that way the laser is pointing down. And if for some reason it turns on by accident or you forget to turn it off, that way it won't point at somebody's eye or something and cause potential problems. So that's probably why they did that. And on the front here you have your little handle right there to lock it in place. There you have the tape coming out of there, and we'll take a closer look in a moment. And there you have the laser built into it right there on the side of the unit. So it's very convenient, doesn't stick out, and I'm going to compare it to the other one in a moment so you can see the difference. And here on the bottom are all the specs. I'll give you a close-up if you're into looking at all that stuff. All right then, so let's take a little closer look at this guy. Then now let's look at the control panel there. Let me turn it on for you, and you see it comes on. Now the backlight only stays on for a little while, so it may turn off after I'm showing you all this stuff. The light itself will turn on, but the unit will stay turned on. It does that after just a couple seconds just to conserve the battery. So basically on here you see everything that you need to do to control it. Up here, let me just turn this guy on. And you see right there, it's indicating that the laser is ready because I just pushed the button right now. But there it indicates whether you're measuring from the front of the unit or the back of the unit. And you press this button down here, long press, and it moves it to the back. You can see right there how it moves from the back to the front or the back, wherever you want to take the measurement from. That tells you the laser is active. That is the battery level indicator telling you what's going on there. And your units of measurements will be right here, and then it will have more measurements over here on the side as you take multiple measurements and you store them and do different things on there. Now the different formulas will show up there, as you can see, and you can select through the different menu and take whatever measurements you want to take, and we're back to just distance measurement. So just scrolling through it, you get to see exactly what the different formulas are, and you pick the one that you like. And the same thing for the units and so forth. You just use the buttons down here and select the unit that you want. Right now, see right there, you go to meters, you go to feet, you go to inches, or you go to feet and inches. So it's very convenient. So everything's right there, just these little buttons right here. And to take the laser measurements, right there, just this little guy right there. As you see, I have it active right now. I'm pointing it at the wall, and the blinking laser tells you it's active. So I'm pointing it at the wall, and I'll take a measurement, and bam, right there, 2 feet, 5 inches, and 13/16. That is how far the wall is from me as I'm taking a measurement right now. So that's very convenient. Another very cool thing about this one that the other one that I tested previously does not have, you switch it over to there, and this guy, that indicator up there, tells you that the tape measure, whatever the reading is on the tape measure, will be reflected right up here. So in other words, if you don't want to look down there, and you don't want to have to read whatever the measurement is, it's right up here for you. See, as I pull it out, the measurement changes right there, and it'll tell you everything that's going on. So you don't even need to look at the tape measure. It'll tell you right there digitally, so you get a much more accurate reading of what measurements you're taking. So there you go. 6.5, 6 and 9/16, 6 and 11, 6 whatever. It's changing because I'm pulling on it. So you see right there, it tells you exactly when you're out to 1 foot, 5 inches, all that kind of stuff. It tells you even fractions of where you're at. So very, very convenient. You don't need to strain your eyes and look at this and make a mistake possibly as to where you're reading it. It tells you right up here what you're reading. See 7 1/8, 7 1/8 right there. That's exactly what we're looking at. And my hand changed. Obviously, I didn't lock it in place. So that's very convenient right there. But even if you don't want to do that, let's say you want to use it as a standard tape measure. Well, there you have your tape measure right there. You pull it out and it does everything you need. And it has that very interesting kind of a braille look to it. So it tells you right there how your measurements are being taken. So very interesting and very nice and sturdy. I just checked it right now as I unboxed it. And you can actually stretch this guy out and it will stay in place without bending or breaking, whatever you want to call it, where, you know, it bends. See, it's pretty sturdy. I'm trying to bend it. It won't bend. You can take it all the way out to 6 feet, 6.5 feet before it actually collapses on itself. So that is pretty darn strong. Now let's compare this guy to a standard tape measure and see the thickness on that. Well, here is your standard Pittsburgh tape measure. You see right there, nothing special about this guy, just a standard tape measure. And you see that the thickness is pretty much about the same. Not much of a difference right there. In fact, this one is actually a little thinner than this guy right there. So this guy is very convenient to get into tight places and so forth. It's a little bit narrower than that guy. Now you compare it to this other guy here. This is the one that I tested previously. You see the problem right there? You see the problem that I was mentioning previously? This guy right here, the laser sticks out like a sore thumb. See right there? That is the laser sticking out. The tape measure is still the same thickness. And it doesn't go back in unless you press the button on this one. So the tape measure locks automatically on that one. But see this guy, how it sticks out? Basically, you can hit that very easily and just knock it off your belt or push it up or whatever. Very easy to knock that down. And actually, the display on this one is smaller than on this one. And this one doesn't do all the formulas that this one does. This one just does distance. That's all it does. And this one also does not reflect on the, whatever the tape is, it does not reflect it up here. As you can see, there is no change whatsoever. This one, the laser and the tape are two separate units. That's why you see it's basically tacked onto the side of it. This one is integrated into it, so it actually is part of the tape measuring mechanism, and everything inside works together. This one is kind of like two separate units that they just stuck together, so you could have both units together. But that thing is like a sore thumb right there, where this one is not. This one is integrated into the unit, very small, compact. Nothing's going to bump it, as you see right there. This one, very easy to bump, very easy to hit that and knock it off. So not very good design there, but you can see this one is about the same thickness, maybe a little narrower. So it's very, very close, but the smooth sides are what are the difference, because that one is so easy, you just knock it over. And it's very easy to knock it over like that. So that's the problem that I didn't like about this one, that I have found to be a bit of a problem over the time that I've been using it. So a lot of improvements, a lot of good features in this one that that one does not have. And I believe they're about the same price. I forget offhand, doesn't really matter. But this one has a lot more features than this one does, and it's very compact and easy to use. So that's what these two guys look like. So let's take a few little measurements with this guy and see how it performs. All right, guys, so this is what I was talking about previously, where you can extend the tape out 6.5 feet before it actually collapses in on itself. That is not too bad at all. I'm just holding it for leverage there to maneuver my hand, but 6.5 feet, that is the breaking point. After that, then it collapses in on itself. But that's not too bad if you have to take some long measurements. As long as you do it carefully, you can extend it out to 6.5 feet without having any trouble. So let's do some other measuring. All right, guys, so how does this guy work as a regular tape measure? You want to just measure something as a regular tape measure? Remember, it only has 16 feet of tape. So let's measure something as a regular tape measure. This top right here, let's see, right there, we're looking at 66 1/16 of an inch. And we look down there, and that is pretty much exactly what it is reading down there on the tape measure. So it works perfectly fine as a tape measure. You see right there, the numbers, very clear, easy to read. And you can also measure just about anything up to 16 feet with the tape measure. But you can go way longer than that, because let's measure the garage right now. All right, guys, so as you see, if I wanted to measure how far it is from those cabinets all the way to the door over there, the tape measure by itself, the metal tape measure, can't do it, because it's only 16 feet, and there's obviously quite a bit more space there. But the beauty of this guy is that it has a laser measure to it, right? So let's use that instead. So we come over here, And let me just make sure this guy is active. And then we click the button to take the measurement. And what do we get? 18 feet and 9 inches. That's the beauty of it. Even though it's maxed out and I can't do a physical measurement, the laser gives me exactly the type of measurement that I need. 18 feet, 9 inches, and some fractions right there. So that gives me all the information that I need. That is the beauty of having the laser measurement. All right, so let's take some other measurements. So right here on my bench top right there, let's measure all the way to the end of the garage over there. And I have to aim it between the cars and to be able to reach that wall over there. But actually, this guy has a pretty bright laser. Let me turn it on. And you see that the laser is active. And let's see, let me point it over there. Let me find it for you. And there you see it right there. It actually has a very bright laser to it. It's very easy to spot. You see it over there? I'm moving it so you can see it. It's not taking a measurement yet, not until I press the button. But right there, that's where I'm going to press the button. And how far is that? Let's see. There you go. 25 feet, 7 inches, and 9/16. So it's very, very accurate down to the fraction. So that's very convenient right there. Let's do another one. How about right up here? I'm going to do it on this one all the way up against the wall. I'll put it against the wall in a minute, but you can see right there, so I'm showing you what I'm doing. And I'm going to measure all the way to the garage door over there. So let's activate it and make sure the laser is going. There you go. Now the laser is ready, and we find it on the wall over there. And you see it right there. It is actually on the door. So I'm going to put it all the way back against here. All the way against that wall, press the button, and what do we get? 19 feet, 11 inches, and 1/8. And let me move it. You can move it after it's done. 19 feet, 11 inches, and 1/8. See, right there, perfect. Very, very convenient to take large measurements, even beyond the scope of the metal tape. And here's a head-to-head test. If you want to see how accurate it is, let's compare it to the other one that I have and see exactly how they measure. You see that right there? They have nothing there. They're not measuring anything. And they're both measuring from the back of the tape, which is important. Got to make sure that they're both measuring in the same way. So let's take a quick measurement with this guy, and we get 19 feet, 7/16. Now let's check on this guy. 19 feet and 9/16. So there's a little bit of discrepancy, maybe from, slight little difference as to which one is a little further back. This one is a little bit further back than that one. I have to move up a little bit, but pretty darn accurate. 19 feet. And then the fraction of an inch doesn't really matter now, does it? But there you go. 19 feet on both of them, showing you that they're both equally accurate. So the new one is obviously a better improvement over the other one. And there you see the two head to head. And if you want to see how tall they are, there you go. They're pretty much about the same. But that gives you a closer view of what the two look like if you're trying to use them. All right, guys, there you have it. A review and demonstration of a new and improved version of a laser tape measure. All the problems that I had with the previous laser tape measure have been resolved with this new one from Huepar. You saw how easy it is to use and how it's just as accurate as the other model. Very convenient and affordable. So whether you need to take small measurements or large measurements, plus complicated formula measurements, this little guy can help you do it all. Check out the links below for all the details. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye for now.